It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 10 of The Walking Dead. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the cliffhanger of the Season 10 mid-season finale, Season 10 Episode 8, which saw some of our characters being trapped in a cave. Now, obviously, we're going to pick up pretty much exactly where we left off, most likely, in the mid-season premiere, Season 10 Episode 9, and we'll most likely get some sort of a resolution with regards to that specific scene. And also in terms of who I think is more likely to die during the cave trap, I actually did a standalone video on this a while ago. I'll leave a link so you guys can check it out. The link will drop at the top right. You can click and check it out. And I still stand by that prediction. I still think that Jerry, Connie, and Kelly are the ones that are most likely to die in this specific scene. Now, with that said, the other day I was actually thinking about this. There's actually a possibility that we might get another double major death moment during this specific cliffhanger moment. And I'm actually going to explain the clues that they have in there. They're subtle, but they're definitely there, that lead us to think that we might actually be getting another double major death moment. Of course, this is not the first time that they'll have a double major death moment. If it does in fact happen, because of course they did do the double major death during the Negan clearing scene in 701, where Negan killed both Abraham and Glenn. And the reason I bring that up is because that in itself is a clue. And I'll get to that. But what I do want to quickly mention here as well is that we have seen Walking Dead recycle storylines, topics, and materials before. It's not the first time. And that's one of the other reasons that lead me to think that they may in fact be recycling this specific storyline again and reusing that bit of the story from season 7 again. Now, of course, during that time, one of those double deaths that we saw with Abraham and Glenn was caused by Rick's actions and his decisions, going in and killing the saviors in their sleep. But the other death was a direct consequence of Daryl's actions, punching Negan, which of course ended up getting Glenn killed. So Abraham's death, in a way, could be on the entire group because of what they did. They were led by Rick, but then again, we can't necessarily blame Rick directly. It wasn't an individualistic mistake that led to that, but Glenn's death was an individualistic mistake. It was Daryl's mistake. And I think if it was anyone else, they would not have been able to brush that off as easily as they did. I mean, they didn't really brush it off. Daryl went through his thing and he had that moment with Maggie, but they didn't really kind of make a big deal out of that as much as they should have. And obviously because of Maggie and Daryl's connection and their history together, that made that a little bit easier. Now, why do I even talk about all of that? The reason being, they may actually be doing the exact same thing, but this time, instead of Daryl doing something that ends up getting someone killed, it's Carol. And it's not the first time she's doing it, but before, it actually didn't end up getting anyone killed. The first time Carol did something, went on a rogue mission and risked everyone's lives, was when she faced up with Alpha earlier on in season 10 and tried to take a shot at her. Of course, she was unsuccessful because Michonne stopped her, but that could have very well have ended up getting someone killed. But of course, what it ended up doing was Alpha just claimed more land because of that. Now, it's also entirely possible that if that didn't happen and Carol didn't try to take a shot at Alpha, she would have still demanded land because they did cross her land multiple times. But that's beside the point. The point is that Carol's decision to try to take a shot at Alpha could have cost someone their life. It didn't the first time. But then she did pretty much the exact same thing in a different way. Once again, she went after Alpha and got everyone that's in the cave trapped. Now, this time though, I don't think that they'll be able to get away from that situation without someone dying. Now, if someone dies, let's say it's one person for now, I think it's entirely possible that they might give us a repetitive story and basically make Carol go through the exact same thing Daryl went through. Now, with that said, if someone from Magna's group dies, let's say at this point still one person, then I don't think maybe Magna herself, maybe not anyone else from her group, but Magna herself is going to just forgive Carol. So that's going to create a lot of tension. And also, let's say if Connie dies, that might actually put Carol and Daryl at odds because of Daryl and Connie's connection and their kind of history together. Now, I don't think it's going to lead to them hating each other or wanting to kill each other, not by any means, but I do think that it could create tension between them as well. Now, there is a hint based on the trailer of the second half that makes me think that they might be following the same arc in terms of having something happen to someone in the cave and Carol blaming herself, because there is a scene where Carol tells Daryl, I didn't want any of this to happen. So I think that's a clue that Carol might be going through a similar kind of phase or situation that Daryl went through when he punched Negan in the face and ended up getting Glenn killed. Now, with all of that said, where is we're going to see a double death? I think, going back to what I said earlier, if someone from Magna's group dies, then I think Magna is definitely going to blame Carol and she's going to be at odds with Carol. Now, if one person from Magna's group dies, maybe it'll be a situation where, they were all to blame, not just Carol herself, because she indirectly let everyone into the cave trap. But what if Carol does something else that this time directly results in someone's death? Then I think Magna, for example, wouldn't have any other choice but to blame Carol. So imagine this. One person dies initially because they're trapped down there. Now let's say this person is Kelly or Yumiko, someone from Magna's group, or Connie even. But let's just put Connie away, because then again, like I said, there's going to be a situation between Carol and Daryl, and I don't necessarily think that they're going to go that route. So let's put Connie aside for now. Let's assume it's either Kelly or Yumiko that dies initially because they're trapped. As a result of that, obviously it's going to create some issues or tension between Carol and Magna. But what if 2 people die? In that case, you will multiply that by 2. Now, maybe it doesn't make sense for both to be from Magna's group, but if one person is from Magna's group and another person isn't, then Magna could very well kind of bring this argument to everyone else that look at what Carol did. Not only did it end up getting one person killed, but it ended up getting another person killed now. And if you don't care about Kelly, let's say, because she wasn't part of your group to begin with, you're going to care about this other person. Let's say it's Jerry. You see what I'm trying to get at? So then maybe as a result of that, maybe Aaron and Yumiko will kind of see Magna's point. And then as a result of that, she might actually have something to go with in terms of blaming Carol. And maybe she could take that away from the cave and bring it to everyone else and make everyone see how much of a threat Carol is because she ended up getting 2 people killed. And as a result of that, we could see a situation where Carol can be sent away, like exiled, for example. Now, that might be a stretch, but you see what I'm trying to get at. Like, if they don't do a double death, they can easily brush off Carol's action again, just like they did with Daryl. But if it ends up getting 2 people killed, that could make things extremely interesting, and that could end up leading to Carol being exiled, for example, which could open up the road for her to potentially show up somewhere else in the universe. But then again, there's another thing to keep in mind. Will fans really be happy about that? Will fans accept the fact that Carol ended up getting 2 people killed? You know what I'm trying to get at? And going back to what I said earlier, let's say if it is Kelly and Jerry that die, then Carol will definitely have to face Ezekiel for ending up getting Jerry killed. So there's going to be that aspect of it as well. But I want to know everyone's thoughts and opinions about this. What do you think about the theory that there's going to be another double major death moment? And what do you think about everything that I just went through, which kind of puts everything together to lead into Carol to get exiled and possibly show up somewhere else in the universe? But that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.